All right, guys, welcome to Next Level Live. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to start, first of all, congratulations, Agent Spotlight, Vanina, if I pronounce it. Mike, I'm gonna go with it, and I think it's Bonanno.
I think so too.
Okay, if I'm wrong, Vanina, Mike's fault. That's supposed to be he's back office kind of stuff, he's support, he's supposed to know that. But I believe Vanina Bonanno. We always go Vanina B, so I never pronounced it like on one of the calls, so works in Mark's group, great job, read the story, thank you, outstanding work. So before we go in, I want to get into, because I've got a lot of people lately that have asked me about, because obviously we have people that are shattering records, right, and moving up levels wise. And for us, I mean, the compensation obviously is, what's nice about our level system is like as you move up, you're making more money. It's based on issue paid. It's based on issue paid. You don't have to have a certain amount of people. You have to have something. I'll go over with you volume-wise outside of groups you got. And I think Mike Kilmet's a very good testament to this. So if you kind of say, well, from a bonus standpoint, I go, well, let's see. Mike Kilmet at executive board member is getting $110,000 a month in bonus, right, Mike? So he's making $1.3 million in bonus money annually, minimally, non-charge backable at that EBM level. So to give you an idea of how powerful and they're 4 levels above Mike. So first of all, I want to go over that, because I think if you're newer, you've been around for a bit, some of the stuff people might not understand, because I really do think it's important. I think it's very important to not just recognize people for what they've achieved for them, because that is very important. You've worked hard, you deserve it, but also lets the other people around them know what they know, if that makes sense. Like, who can help me? Who knows A, B, C, D, and E, but who knows X, Y, and Z, right? Who can help me in the sales side? Who can help me in the building side? Because we do a lot of this, you look at the leaderboard and you work with somebody and go, all right, he or she issues X, they can help me. And that's what you should do. That's what I always did. Like, we were just joking around about something Mike and I earlier. Mike's like, yeah, I'll become the baseball coach, which was a joke, Mike, because
correct,
you have no baseball knowledge.
He can't hit a baseball.
He can't hit a baseball. We've seen him. He can't hit one. Can't hit a softball. It's bigger.
No.
You know what I mean? Can't hit a softball, underhand. So he's like, maybe beach ball. But it's his understanding that I wouldn't be the guy to go to as it pertains to that. So I want to, and we've had record numbers of people hitting these levels. So when you hear them, I don't think we do a good enough job. And by the way, they're all a big deal. You should be very proud as you move up these levels. So the first one is sales manager, $50,000 and above, paid in a month. Okay. Now the company really gets involved, so at that VP level with like all the requirements outside of that top leg, right, or outside the max personal production, because that's when we start paying money out. So like if I hire Mike, and Mike does 48 grand in issue paid business, and he has 3 agents, they do 8 grand, he does 50. Mike's sales manager for me. I mean, they did 50. You see what I'm saying, Mike? Like Mike worked hard, he sold a lot. So in our levels, it says 50 grand issue paid sales manager and 25 grand max personal volume credit. But somebody does 30 or 28 or 34, we're not gonna nickel and dime. There's no bonus yet for that level, and we're very happy because there's growth, so we want to go ahead and recognize people. So sales manager, your group did 50 grand and you got 25,000 max credit for your personal production, okay? That's a lot of that's discretionary with the board member, right? Senior sales manager, $100,000 in issue paid business a month, 50 grand max personal production. But again, Mike Sizer's I hire Mike. Mike's a great guy. Mike knocks out 62 grand in personal production, which is a lot. And then Mike's team does a 104. Guess what, Mike? Congratulations, bud. Because there's no money changing hands. We're not paying him a bonus in the senior sales manager's deal. It is all issue paid volume. And if Mike's working that hard and issuing 40, 50, 60 grand, he's probably going to attract people who are going to start doing 10, 15, 20. And we'll talk about that for a minute as it pertains to building. Next level, where we kind of say at corporate, okay, we got to enforce some of the IP outside of the top leg. Now it's not outside of your personal production, it becomes outside of your top leg, because now we start paying bonuses on it, right? So $150,000 issue paid business in a month, all right? Must maintain 50 grand outside of your top leg. If I hire Mike, and Mike does $148,000, and I write 2 policies and do 2, I'm not a VP. Mike's about to be VP. Matter of fact, let's say Mike did 152, and Mike has 12 people, nobody's more than whatever, 50, 60 grand of his group. Mike's a VP. You go, what about you? I'm the guy that hired Mike. That's really who I am. I mean, I have no volume outside of Mike. I'm still, I think, would probably kind of revert back down, Mike, to the whole senior sales manager, right? I kind of go, now I'm senior sales manager, Mike's VP. You go, well, you hired Mike. I know, but Mike's worked really hard, and listen, whatever I've done, whether I had to take 6 months off, whatever the deal was, I just haven't earned my way up there, have VP and above. So $150,000 in your group, you don't have a requirement of a number of writers or where they have to be positioned. There's no filling in circles or any of that kind of stuff. If I hire Mike does 50, I do 50, and I hire Tom, he does 50, I'm VP. Mike's doing 50, he's one leg. Tom's doing 50, he's another leg. I did 50. Right, Mike? VP.
Right.
Life is good. I could do it with 20 people. They could each issue, so it kind of gives you an idea of, they each issue 7 grand plus, we do it on average. So there's your VP, and that's when we start paying bonuses, all right? Your senior VP, $300,000 issue paid in a month, and you must maintain 100 grand outside of your top group, okay? So again, I hire Mike. Mike's knocking down 220. I do 80. Well, I'm a VP. Mike's a VP. He's not doing 300 grand yet. And what we're trying to do is always encourage people to grow. We want you to grow it. And it's also like when I worked at a company back in the day, I worked at the state for 13, 14 years, and I worked at a delivery company, and both times I was part of a union. You know what I didn't like about that, Mike?
What's that?
If I did 10 times more than you made the exact same amount of money as me. And you actually laugh at me. You'd go, why are you trying so hard? They'd call you like, you're overachieving. Hey, break! It's like, dude, the bell hasn't even rung yet. Put the packages down, or don't do this. It's like, dude, relax. Like, this is my job. Like, I'm just trying to do my job. So we don't structure it that way. As you grow and as you develop volume, personal and building, like, life is really good. So at the end of the day, that's kind of how we're going to calculate everything. So it gives you an idea of where you're at. So that's a senior VP. Executive vice president, $500,000 issue paid in a month, must maintain 200 grand outside of your number one group. If Mike's doing, 298, and Mike's doing what? Mike's doing 198. As long as I have my 20, as long as I have 200 grand outside of that, like, life is good. So I have 200 grand outside of Mike, wherever that is. If there's one other group, I could hire Mike, who does 250. I could hire Tom, who does 250. I'm an executive vice president. I have 2 separate groups. What if I have nothing outside? It doesn't matter. I got 250, 500 grand. I got 200 grand outside of, let's say Mike's doing 251. He's doing a grand more than Tom. I have outside of my top leg, my top group, my top business, I have Tom. He's doing his deal. So I become an executive vice president. 500,000 issue paid a month, okay? For bonus purposes, we use the carriers. Obviously, you all have seen that. We've gone over that. It's a different call for a different day, but it shows you America Mutual goes through the products that the companies would pay full bonus on. Now you move to board member. So now when we launched the company, understand, we had our top level was VP. It just was. We were like, all right, and I think we had sales manager. I don't think we had senior sales. I think it was like sales manager and VP. It was like 75 grand and 150, right? So it's like, if you do 75 grand issue paid a month, you're a sales manager, and then at 150 you're VP. And they're like, what after that? We're like, we don't know. We're not even doing that much. I don't know. And then people start buzzing through these levels. You're like, my good God. And I can remember when we created the board members. I mean, I'm like, God, Mike, we're going to create these levels, but there's going to take a long. I just don't know if people are going to get there. And we're not that we don't have faith. We're very excited about what we're doing. We know there's a need for it. We know it's recession proof. But like, social media leads take off, our contract takes off, hiring takes off, and boom, like, it becomes the perfect storm. $1 million issue paid in a month. Must maintain 350 outside of your top leg. So Mike can do 650. I can have Tom do 350, and I'm a board member. I got 350. Mike's my top guy, top business. I got Tom over here. I don't need to have 27 of them direct to me. I can have 2 direct to me, 3 set, whatever it happens to be. $1 million issue paid. And I think when you listen to Mike Kilman said, these helped me stay stable, Sean, because it helped me stay focused on, once a group was getting to 152, 250, move on and help me hire another group so I could keep making money. They could keep making money. Everybody was growing. Because a lot of times we stop and we get focused just on this one. And then it can become overwhelming. You know, I said to my buddy the other day, I said something to him, he goes, dude, I don't need you to say that to me. He's like, I was an only child. Do you know how much advice I got every minute? I was the only one, he said. They had a bad day, a good day, the only grades to look at, the only behavior to modify. And I'm like, that kind of becomes in this business, when you only have one group, you're like, and that person's kind of like, he or she's like, I kind of got this. We're rolling. Why don't you go like have another kid, hire some other people? Like, we got this under control. So $1 million that you paid a month, board member, $350 outside of your top group. Senior board member. We had board members. I thought, man, it's gonna take a while with senior board member. Boom, 2 months later we had senior board members. It's like, God. $2 million is you paid a month, must maintain 500 grand. I'm sorry, let me take back. Board member must maintain 350 outside of your top leg and 150 outside of your top two legs. So I'm sorry, I was wrong. So please take that back. I could have Mike do 650, another person do 2, and another one do 150 on board member. So we've always said 3. I misspoken, I apologize. Please take that, 3. Okay, so like, because really when we have groups and you're talking about like circle, squares, businesses, getting a 4 out, like, but 3, right? Mike, if you have 3, you're pretty much always, because everything above this is out of your side of your top 2 legs. So as long as you have 3 groups, you're all good. So again, board member, $1 million, 350 outside top leg, 150 outside of your top 2. That just, and hey, guess what? What if you hire 3 people, they're the greatest people ever, and you hire nobody else ever again? It's gonna affect your bonus on some level, the way it all converts, but the reality is your level's your level. But if you can just stay at your 150 outside of there, life's real good. Senior board member, 500 grand outside of your top leg, 300 grand outside of your top 2. Now you're doing $2 million a month. So all we're saying is, hey, you hired Mike, he's awesome. Mike does 1.4 million a month. I hired him though. And then I have another group doing 300 grand, another group doing 300 grand. I got 3 groups, I'm senior board member, and the way that structure, I'm also gonna do pretty good with my bonus. Executive board member, 300 grand, I'm sorry, 3 million issue paid a month. We have, like, Mike Kilman did not hit any council, right? He was close, right?
No, he did.
He did. God, this is crazy. That's how fast this happens. Executive board member, 3 million issue paid a month, $1 million outside of your top leg, 500 grand outside of your top 2, you're doing $3 million a month. Council member, which Mike Kilman's at.
Correct.
Okay, first time?
Yes.
First council member we've ever had.
And he almost hit the.
He almost leapfrogged. He was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go. So council member, 4 million issue paid a month. And by the way, we're gonna have, you got Mark, Andrew, Paul, I mean, you John, you have people right behind them that are gonna get to these levels. We made these green because they're gonna make so much money. They're gonna help a lot of people, believe me. But like, we made them green and because we're gonna pay a lot of money. That was kind of our deal. Y'all gonna make a lot of money, we're gonna pay you a lot of money in bonuses too. So these are get crazy. 1.5 outside of your top leg, $1 million outside of your top 2. Senior council member, which Mike just missed, okay, 5 million issue paid a month, 2 million outside of your top leg, 1.5 outside of your top 2. Now you go, man, this seems like a lot. Guess what? You feel like I did 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. It ain't a lot. You're like, man, all I need to know is this. We launched a company just like you're launching yours. You might be launching yours today. You start here, and before you know it, because this didn't happen with 100,000 people. You're talking about cumulatively 7,000 people or so that will this year get paid in a policy, and you have all these levels. Could you get to 700? You can do it overnight. 10% of what we have for producing agents. So that's senior council member. We got executive council member, 6 million issue paid a month, 2.5 outside of your top leg, 2 million outside of your top 2, 7 million issue paid a month is our top level, which I dare to say one day we'll need, but this is our top level. 7 million issue paid a month, must maintain 3 million outside of your top leg, 2.5 outside of your top 2 legs. So aside from my little snafu when I started talking about board members and correcting myself, hope that makes a lot of sense to y'all. I say that so you know the blueprint for where you're going. If you're at one of these levels and you're trying to find some people that are at VP and ask them what they did, maybe maybe this guy's got a structure of 21 agents, he has 5. She has 10, she has 37. I don't know, everybody's model's different. Everybody's got something, you gotta kind of figure out, be the best you. Do what you can do. When I started in the business, everybody was like, you need to have 28 people direct to you, and you'll need 900 people, and I was like, 20 people to 20,000 a month, that's my 400 grand. That was me, 20 to 20, and then to grow from there. So, we got my buddy Marc Meade. Marc Meade is Life Insurance Awareness Month, we're still talking about that. I don't know. I know very few people as passionate about protecting others and serving them with life insurance as Marc Meade. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, buddy. It's all yours. Thank you very much, man.
All right, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to get on the Next Level Live, Sean, and to share, what's going on in time right now. It's a beautiful time of the year. It's actually Life Insurance Awareness Month, which is September, and that brings to me some great memories. I mean, this time of the year, I'm constantly reflecting on my life, and it's the fall. I was a fall baby. There's a lot of things that kind of flow with me during this time of the year, but the weather changes. You got a crisp, crackling sensation in the air, and you have the restaurant menu start turning everything into pumpkin. So I've got pumpkin candles lit here in my office, and I also got my hands typically on a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. But I say all that to say that this is definitely a time reflection year for me, where I look back and reflect, and it's my favorite time of the year. It just so happens to be Life Insurance Awareness Month, and Life Insurance Awareness Month is kind of what we're here talking about today. But when I reflect upon why I got in the life insurance business in the first place, and honestly, I was at a stage in my life where I really was just tired of slinging stuff. I had a lot of different avenues into which I can bring in a buck. None of them were crazy lucrative or anything that I could scale necessarily. But I was kind of tired of slinging stuff. I was tired of hopping from thing to thing to thing to thing. I was tired of, kind of not having value in my base job, and I wanted a business that could allow me to have time, also make money with no caps, but also bring value to my life. In the mortgage business, we were literally slinging loans. We turn around from slinging loans to slinging loan modification on the loans we were slinging. I mean, there was no value whatsoever, and at all, I think, in what was happening and what happened, and so I was looking for a new stage in my life, and the life insurance business created that for me. The life insurance business created some stability, and I think that's more or less what life insurance is about. And as I look back at that time, and then what the life insurance business has done for me in stabilization, I have to really pay homage to the actual reason that people buy life insurance. And when I, kind of started looking at where we were as a family, my wife and my two kids, I started, with the life insurance protecting us, making sure that we had coverage, making sure that we had what we need, and different types of term policies and cashback policies and IUL policies, and that the kids had Head Start program IULs, and children whole life policies, and having all of that in play, because what we wanted to do was create, really, look, nobody knows the day, the time of the hour they're no longer going to be here. So I wanted to put that in place for my family right away, and as we started growing financially, we would put more in place, because I think that it's important. But I also was able to kind of span out and start protecting my immediate family. When you first get started, it's shocking that Marc does life insurance sales, but once I got over that, once they got over that, the reality was people need life insurance. So we can do all the dance and all the shout and all this and that and the third. At the end of the day, people still need life insurance. So I made sure that I put policies in place on immediate family, moms, brothers, sisters, in-laws, my Robin side of the family, making sure that, immediately, like maybe final expenses and or, if you had, small kids or whatever the immediate situation was taken care of. Started spanning out into helping friends. Because look, at the end of the day, people can ignore it, but there's no amount of value that is brought when someone's no longer here, and that there's a check that comes behind that. Period. Yeah, I don't have to say that. I remember like it was yesterday. A client that I had. I'll use a different name for the purposes of this production, but Courtney, I will say. I remember being in her house, and I remember pushing her to get this policy on her husband. I remember it. And she was pushing back, and I was so young in the business. I'm probably 5 months into being licensed. So this is still like 2012. I still had that anxiety when I pull up to that house and I go inside, just like, am I going to protect this family or not? And I just remember all the points that she was making and how none of them added up to anything. And at the end of the day, what she was looking to do at that time was protect the money that she had made, okay? And I was looking to protect her family. See, this is where two worlds collide. Sometimes the client is looking to protect the money that they make, because who wants another bill? Really? And I was looking to protect their family. This is why life insurance is sold, not bought. Because if she was looking to buy a policy, she should have talked herself out of it. How many times have you talked yourself out of buying something? If she was looking to be sold something, she'd have to be combated. She'd have to be challenged. She wasn't looking to be sold something. She wasn't looking to be bought something. The reality was, she wasn't going to buy something if it wasn't being sold. There's nothing wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, we protected the family. And about a year, maybe 14 months after that, she gave me a phone call. And I was such a novice to trying to, knowing that, what's going on. She called me to find out if her policy was still in play, because I had changed companies. I had changed companies to Family First Life. The company that I was with was harassing my clients. So she called me to see if I was still her agent. Now that was probably a big deal at that time for me. So that's as far as I read into the situation. But she was one of the few that called. Okay. Well, 4 or 5 months down the road, I realized the reason that she called is because her husband had fell down in the house, got rushed to the hospital, okay, and they found out that he had cancer. Now, this is how sudden it happens. This is exactly how sudden it starts. Now, the first time you hear cancer, I don't care who you are, you think the worst. But there's so many success stories now of people beating cancer that you can take your mind into faith mode and go, we're going to beat this thing. As a matter of fact, you won't let anyone around you that's not going to speak life. You won't even let them around you. Husband-spouse situation, you won't let anyone in your circumference that's not going to be coming in saying, you're going to beat this thing. You just won't let it happen. So most people shift from the word cancer, which is a tough word, no matter what. and I hate cancer, and I don't like, it's because there's no respect of person to get you at any age. There's no indicator. It's just, I hate it. But anybody that, well, the bottom line is that this took place. She calls me again now. Okay. And we start moving into hedge of protection mode. But a month after he passed away. And I'll always play that call back. Always play that call back. Because that call was the trigger. And I didn't realize that. So now, no matter what, if a client calls me, I don't care, they want to change the draft, they want to do X, Y, Z, they want to, hey, is my living better? I don't care what they want to do. I say, is everything okay? How's your health? 100%. Like, it's funny how, or I shouldn't, funny is probably not the right word, but it's humbling how you learn stuff in life, how sometimes it's a sneak, it sneaks up on you, you don't know, and then when you know, you start doing better. I mean, it's interesting how that takes place. And in this situation, I had to be able to learn from that and grow from that, and now I'm very on it, but that was probably one of the first times that me being a life insurance agent kind of took root and kind of took flight in my life, and there's so much value in what we do. There's I had to get over going from banking to insurance, thinking that I was making a downgrade. I was making an upgrade. Banking and real estate has more pizzazz to it than insurance, and so there's a lot of things that what I did was I would attack the elephant in the room as far as what it is that I did, and I think there's so many stories and so much value on what we do. That was just a different time, or a different time for me, but it's unbelievable the amount of people that we've been able to protect over the years and how much value we've been able to put in place. Like these policies now, the living benefits, the chronic, the critical, the terminal, all this stuff, the waiver of, I love the waiver of premium because I once saw it, I was sitting with a client and she's no longer paying for this policy, but it's got this cash. And I was like, I couldn't figure this thing out. And then I'm looking at the policy, and I'm looking at this policy and I'm kind of like, how is this thing grow? Like, you stop paying for this when? And you just say, waiver of premium. So that's the aha moment when I said, all right, I'm putting a waiver of premium on everybody's policies, because what I try to do is I looked at value, like where's their value in these policies, because what would I want to happen to my mom? Like, what would I want if my wife had a policy? And then I started looking at all these different options, accidental riders and the living benefits and the waiver of premium. And I started looking at these benefits to see what would make sense for me trying to create as much value as possible for my clients. And what would that mean if something happened to them? There's all sorts of things I would do from a rider standpoint and a benefit standpoint to put the client in a stronger position, even if it costs a couple more bucks. To me, nobody complains about value, especially when value's kicking in. Nobody complains about value, especially when value's kicking in. But value exceeds price. That's when people take out their checkbooks. And I think at the end of the day, you want to be in a position to put the clients in a valuable position. Okay? I mean, when I look at all the things that people can insure, all the things that people do insure, cars, homes, boats, jewelry, refrigerators, washer and dryers, dishwashers, TVs, computers, phones. I just gave you 10 things that people are fired up to insure. Fired up. And they're not fired up to protect their life. Yeah, that's where the conversation changes as well. So that's where, we bring this value, and that's where we help the client understand what's really at stake here. And I think here at Family First Life, we do such a great job of it. When I think about Life Insurance Awareness Month, I think about people in my life that, pass away suddenly. Colleagues of mine, associates of mine, who've lost loved ones near and dear to them, and I see it on Facebook. I just think wow, here today, gone tomorrow. And we literally take this life for granted day by day. I don't sit and run around thinking about death all day, but at the end of the day, it's a reality, and people spend less time each year planning their finances than they do planning their yearly vacations. This is a real conversation. We've got to have this conversation. We've got to open this up and start talking about. And that's what Life Insurance Awareness Month is really all about. Life Happens is a website that created this Life Insurance Awareness Month just to bring attention to the fact that, hey, life happens. And there's been multiple organizations that have jumped on board since this thing started. But life happens. And if you go on their website, you'll see different things and videos and people that have lost and how life insurance is protected. And it's important. It is important. I think life insurance should be the law. Because, auto insurance is the law, but life insurance is not. I think that we should petition for life insurance to be the law. But I also think that families, there's double stories. There's stories of families that passed away and haven't had it. There's stories of families that passed away and have. It's two gigantically different perspectives. I'm going to share with you a couple stories of clients that I had the privilege and honor to protect through the years. I mean, I had this one client who, dad, daughter, husband. So the daughter, that was her dad, and they are looking to protect their dad because their dad's basically gifting them the house. And he's older in age. He's got a couple things going on to the point where we couldn't get this guy any term. Okay? So what we decided to do, we all agreed this would be the best way to go, is stack maybe 7 or 8 whole life policies together because we can get those approved and put them in a position with the life insurance he had prior to get them a death benefit if God forbid something happened. And so that's what we did. We go company by company by company by company by company, and the premiums were high, but they were happy that they got the life insurance in place. But I want to say 12 months after, maybe 18 months after we put those policies in force, sure enough, he passes away from heart conditions, from a heart condition, basically congestive heart failure. And I'm going back out there to went back out there to meet with them and go over everything. And it was a lot of moving parts, so try to help them with the stuff they had that was existing and the stuff that they were getting. And never once was there was anyone upset about what they were putting out money-wise. They were excited about the benefit. They weren't excited that they lost their dad. Nobody is. But being able to put that family in a stronger position, I think, was amazing. And then seeing, what they're able to do for, the financial burden that would have been in play, straight up, because they had kids, small kids, was no longer in play because of that. That client's name was George, and I'm using a different name. I had another client, Jennifer and John. I'm changing the names, but I'll never forget sitting. They had a massive house in a great neighborhood, and I pull up. It was scenic because it was right around October. Leaves were on the ground. And they weren't home. So I call them up. It's like, oh my gosh, I forgot the appointment. And so I circle back around. I had some other things I was going to do, and I circle back around. I meet with them. I get there, beautiful home, 3 kids running around. The husband is probably 15 years older than his wife. Okay, put this into perspective. He's working, making a boatload of money. She's a homemaker, taking care of everything at the house. So the play immediately was, how are we going to protect him if God forbid something happens? And look, straight up, when you're sitting down doing these plans, the truth of the matter is, everyone thinks they're going to live forever. Everyone thinks they got a lot more time than they do. And I remember this guy was giving me a hard time during the underwriting, because the underwriting was a little bit difficult because he had a couple things going on, and we needed information on stuff to help get this thing pushed through. And he almost got upset and tapped out on the policy. Again, it's just the way it is sometimes. But the reality on that situation was, I'm moseying along, doing my thing. It's probably now, I would say, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I get a call. I missed the call. I get a voicemail about 1 minute and 30 seconds long. Just hysterical. Jennifer calling me in tears because her husband got diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is brain cancer again. Just again. So, and he's handled all the finances to this point in their life. He pretty much knows where everything is. He pretty much knows where everything. She's trying to find out from me, who's the policy with, where's it at. Now she's not sure. Again, we go from, now it's precaution. We're in precautionary mode, and I react right away. I don't waste any time. Tiffany, my assistant, she deals with all these claims, and we get on it. We jump on it. We figure out what's going on. We're on it. And then, I remember them going to their state attorney, doing the things that they needed to do to get this stuff and to get everything that they had in play, make sure all the verbiage was correct while he's trying to fight and beat this cancer. I remember there was a laughing moment where she goes, "He's a tough son of a gun. He's gonna beat this," And 8-9 months later, he was gone, and I'll never forget the feeling that I had to deliver the death check to the family. And just seeing those 3 kids, her life's changed forever. And she was talking about moving down south because she had more family down there and she didn't need this big old house. And it's amazing how things just change just like that. And you know, it's mind-numbing, when we think about the value that we actually bring to families. Again, another client, with all due respect, that did not complain what they were paying per month, that did not complain about the fact that they were getting a sizable death check. So, I think about a friend of mine this year who last year lost his mom, and just going through, and I didn't protect their family. I'm just talking about a situation that, death is real, man. This idea that we're all going to live forever. And again, we don't walk around, sweating death, but this idea that it can come for you at any moment, and having protection in place when it comes is critical. I'll give you another story. I had a client who I remember meeting him and his wife. She had some health conditions, and more on the final expense side of things, and she had some conditions. She had a policy that she had gotten like 8 months before. It was a 2-year wait. She didn't need a 2-year wait. She was able to get level coverage. Okay. I remember showing him that it was a 2-year wait and that he's going to have to wait if something were to happen to her. So I remember replacing that policy with a new policy that was immediate coverage day one, and how alleviated he was that we did that, and how wise of a decision that was for him and his family. Again, even when I'm in there and I'm helping these families going through these plans, I'm not thinking that's not, I know that this is real, but I mean, sometimes this, it could become a little mundane. But I remember getting that phone call, and he was hysterical. He was literally, he didn't know what to do because he just wasn't as fiscally savvy. So he didn't really know what to do. He needed to hear from me desperately. I called him. I said, I'm going to be over. I'm coming over. I sat with him, and he said to me, he goes, I remember you saying, because I was driving home this point. I remember driving home this point to him that if something's going to happen, I'm going to be the guy who's going to be here for you and your family. I remember driving home that point, and he said, you said you were going to be here for me, and here you are. I was like, my eyes started to water up, because it's not a game to me that we're out here. Yes, we can go from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. We can be no-show. We can be rescheduled. We can have, people that don't understand the true value that we bring. We could have people that cancel the very policy they said they need for their family. But when I hear stuff like that, you said you were going to be here for me and my family, and here you are. I promise you, I remember exactly why I do what I do. And it's always awesome to get that type of compliment or that type of affirmation, because his wife's no longer here. And there's nothing that I can do to bring her back. But we did put something in place that can help provide some solace financially, and that's our job. When I was sitting with another couple, I remember this couple like it was yesterday, And very recently, in the last 3 months, I got a phone call from the son that the mom passed away. And I remember the mom, Cecilia. They were a great couple. I mean, a great couple. They were seniors. They did well for themselves, like in retirement. They were just funny. But I remember helping her with a policy, helping him with 2 policies. And she called me like 2-3 days later wanting to cancel his second policy. She's like, look, it's just too much. I don't think we need this much. He's fine. He has this policy here. I remember going back out. This is why we do what we do. I remember going back out and showing them the value. Showing them why 2 policies made sense. And how they're able to afford it. Like, I understand you're saying, and I remember still being in limbo when I left, not knowing whether they were going to keep both. And I remember she called me and said, you know what, we're going to keep both. And I was like, yes. I get to keep the commissions, but they get to keep the life insurance. And again, sometimes we get caught up on the commission side, right? That's why I highlight this point. But 3 months ago, the son called me, the daughter called, the son's wife called me and was talking to me about Cecilia passing away. And I'm trying to remember them. And I said, it took me about 7 seconds. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Because I remember them. I remembered them. And then I said, is everything like, so the husband's still alive? He's not, she was the one who, I said, I remember your mom so well. I mean, she was a pit bull. Your mom had everything together. She kept everything together. She was the one. She was the eyes and ears in that house, correct? They go, yeah. And I remember that. And again, we jump on it right away. I go out to go see him. He needed an update on what he had left, the policies, and then what was going to be paid out. And, there's nothing better than walking through this process with people. Because right after the emotions is the money. Right after the emotions of the loved one passing away, the funeral. By the way, the funeral, they want their money pronto. They're not waiting. There becomes a mountain of stress that deals around finances. Where there's an existing mortgage left, where there's existing debt left, the funeral and all the final expenses. There becomes a enormous burden around the finances. So believe it or not, after they see the closest people to them, the next person they want to see is you, the life insurance person. Because they know you're the only one, you're the first one that's going to line up with money. Because again, we cannot bring their loved ones back. But we have the ability to provide a check to the family if God forbid something happens to them. So right after the emotions is the money. And that's where the value of walking in, I cry every time. There's no doubt. I mean, you're walking into really a somber situation, a somber home that's not all together at that time, and you are in a place where what you're doing is you're going to console them, you're going to provide peace, you're going to provide solace, you're going to provide comfort, but you're going to provide it in the form of, I'm here for you. And I always tell my clients, you're not going to do anything that has to do with this death claim. You're not going to do one thing. There's some things that I need you to get them to me, but as far as calling the companies, calling doctors, calling this, calling that, we're going to handle all of that. You got enough stuff you're dealing with. You can just deal directly with us, and if there's anything that you need as this process goes out, we're here. Because it is a ministry to me. This is not, I like what we do. I like the independence of what we do. I like getting paid, no doubt. But I mean, the reason I left the mortgage business, the reason I got out of slinging stuff, because I was tired of that, man. I wanted to do something that had real value. And we're doing these business development meetings now. And one of the things that I talk about is I go to sleep every night, and I'm never concerned of what we're doing. Is it moral, ethical, legal? Does it bring value to people? I don't ever question that. That's an amazing place to be, at this stage of my career. And I was not there. I gotta be honest with you, man. I was not there. I was not there. I could have questioned 10,000 things before I got into life insurance sales and figured out the true value of this business. So to be in a place where now I can honestly say, hey, I don't have the conscience. I know I can do this for the next 30, 40, 50 years, and I can feel great about what I do. I don't have to fret, and I know that the value that we provide when we get that lead and we call that client and we go see them and we help them with life insurance, I don't think there's a better value out there. There's not a car that has more value than that. There's not a home that has more value than that. There's not a piece of jewelry that has more value than that. There's not a painting that has more value than that. I need you to get this. There's not an electronic that has more value than that. There's not a technology that has more value than that. There's not a software that has more value than that. There's nothing in their life that has more value than the life insurance purchase is the number one purchase in their life. Most of the times they don't realize that. And that is the gist of our job. That is the value of what we do. That is the value of life insurance. And that's why Life Insurance Awareness Month message needs to keep spreading and going and going and going and going. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time. Have a blessed day. So I wanted to jump into the importance of the business development meetings and why those are catching fire all across the country. You're starting to see in multiple markets, vice presidents and above, board members, starting these BDMs every single week. I know exactly what that explosion is going to look like. That's why Sean Mike's been pressing this in a good way, because what's going to happen is there's nothing like continuity. Okay, so we were running BDMs once a month, and we didn't have a lot of success getting new people to the meeting, and we didn't have a ton of success getting existing agent buy-in. Okay, when we started running them every week, we got consistent agent buy-in because it became part of the schedule. It was like, hey, well, when's the next BDM? Monday's the next BDM. It's every Monday. So the way we set it up is we make Monday game day. Okay, so 8 a.m. dials. We do our bullpen session at 1 p.m., which is kind of like a sales training. Okay, a lot of organizations do them once a week. Some do them twice a week. Back to dialing after that. I'll typically bring in dinner right around 4:35 for whoever's here. We'll do the BDM at 6 p.m. and everyone's now recruiting to the BDM. So the existing agents in office run ads to the BDM. My recruiting department will run ads to the BDM, and it's every Monday. So you're not going to get a 100% show ratio, but the good news is if they don't make it to one Monday, they can make it the next Monday. And what I'm starting to see and what I know is going to happen is when we start running ads against other people's BDMs, like we're running a BDM in Chicago with Ivan, we're running a BDM down in Dallas, Tampa, South Florida, Philly. So we've got a couple different ones going on, but then Killam is running the one in Atlanta, and they've got probably BDMs peppered all throughout the Southeast, and then Andrew's jumping on planes, Paul's jumping on planes. I'm sure they're running them throughout the West Coast. My point is, if Grady's running a BDM in Phoenix, we could recruit to that BDM. We could say, all right, well, this is who's going to be running it. This guy's super sharp. This is what he's doing with the company. Please go up and talk to him after you're done. Like, that's going to be the key, and that's when this thing's going to catch fire. You think about everything Family First Life has to offer: elite sales training, unwavering support, highest compensation, vest renewals day one, no fees, multiplicity of leads, all the things that we offer, no contract, VP bonus. I mean, nobody has that spread throughout the entire country, and a team that's willing to support the growth. So if we run a BDM, if we run ads to a BDM in Atlanta and John's doing the meeting, all I'm going to do is say, all right, I'm going to talk about how awesome John is. John's extremely decorated. He's a board member with the company, growing like wildfire. I'm going to say, when you're done, go up and talk to John. And I think when we can do that at scale, if you think we're growing now, we've not seen growth. We've not even sniffed growth, because something weekly, you can count on it. It's so much different than, once a month. It's so much different than, hey, you want to do a BDM tonight? Or you want to do a BDM next week? It's weekly. Some people are doing it on Mondays, some people are doing it on Thursdays, and there's some in different parts of the country. I think if we can catch fire in multiple cities, if Detroit can start doing a BDM, if the Carolinas can start doing BDMs, if we can start doing a BDM in Colorado, if we can start doing BDMs all across the Pacific Northwest, if Matt Smith's running a BDM, it's just going to it's going to do two things. The entire country gets to place ads in that city and promote to that BDM where they can get around other people, which people like being around people. I mean, it's kind of a thing. And then it's going to bolster that home office. So right now in New Jersey, we're already seeing new agents come through the office because of the business development meeting. And for a while, it's like I'm not going to be sold that there's no new blood in New Jersey. Like, I'm not going to be sold that. That'd be like saying there's no new agents in Atlanta. Why? Because there's a lot of them? No, there's new agents. They're starving. They don't know who we are. We've got to get the message out. When we can get that message out, it's going to catch fire. And I predict in the next 4 weeks, there's going to be 30 to 40 BDMs once a week across the country. And when we can understand the power of utilizing the team, which we've done a great job with, we can use it at the next level. The next level is, I'll do a BDM, I'll do it, I'll run it. You know what I always like to say is, like, the one, if you're a pastor, you're starting your Bible study, the first few times you promote the Bible study, it's flooded, people come. The key is what are you going to do when no one shows up? Because there's going to be weeks when nobody goes to the Bible study. The only way it's ever going to catch fire is if you continue to run the Bible study. Everyone's at 7. Everyone's at 7. I'm here. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm there every single week. And then what will happen is your consistency is going to break barriers. Everyone can, like, if you want to run a BDM next week or in the next 2 weeks in any city you want, you can get a lot of people there. The key is continuity, consistency every single week. So this new call, this new charge, this new call to arms of A BDM every single week is going to be a game changer for Family First Life. And if you decide to participate, it's going to be a game changer for you and your organization. So I appreciate it. I hope this message helps. Let's promote these BDMs all across the country. Let's put people in a better position to win. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to do this part-time. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to go part-time to full-time. There's a lot of people out there that need extra income. We've got to stop thinking we've made it. We've got to stop thinking that I'm good because I've taken care of my family. There's a lot of family. The reason why there's an army of us doing this at a high level still, and why Sean drives the needle, is because we've not serviced enough families. We've not put in families in the proper position yet. There's not enough families in the proper position yet. There's people who don't even know about us because, we decided that the city we live in saturated. We're going to stop recruiting there. We're going to go to another city which is fine. I'm just saying, you have a local presence. If you start galvanizing your local office with new blood and new people, what the BDM is designed to do, it's a wrap. And you will start creating new success stories. New success stories brings new people. New people brings new excitement. It's a cycle of winning. Let's start getting into this cycle of winning. Let's start putting families in a position so they can dominate their situation. Everyone's going to get what they came here for. If they want to win, they'll win. So, appreciate it, guys. Let's make it a big, 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 big week. We're crushing it. We're breaking records, but let's keep driving it. Appreciate everybody out there serving the team. God bless.